시간과 세대를 거쳐서 유전자의 빈도수의 차이가 날 경우를 진화라고 합니다. 그래서 그 정의에는 뭐 더 나아지고 더 나빠지고 그런 식의 가치 판단이 들어있지 않습니다. 무조건 중립적인 판단으로서 변화가 있으면 진화입니다. 진화란 나아지는 것가 아니라는. 그러니까 어떤 분들은 역진화라는 말도 많이 쓰시는데 나빠지는 경우를 역진화라고 그러는데 그 말 자체도 성립이 되지 않는 말입니다. 무엇이든지 변화는 진화입니다. 다윈이 이야기한 것은 적자가 생존을 했다는 겁니다. 즉 A를 맞아야만 과목을 패스를 하는 것이 아니라 F만 안 맞으면 됩니다. 죽지만 않으면 진화를 할 수 있습니다. 근데 이제 그 변화를 어떻게 측정을 하느냐, 거기서 재미있는 문제가 생길 수가 있는 거죠. 거기서 이제 통계 처리가 많이 등장하고요. 그리고 어느 정도의 변화를 유의미한 의미가 있는 변화를 볼 수가 있느냐, 그런 부분에서 많은 연구를 하고 있습니다.
Biological evolution in humans is now dwarfed by cultural evolution. The evolution of technology, the evolution of clothes fashions, the evolution of language, the evolution of habits, fashions, sports, all the things that interest us are evolving by a process that looks like biological evolution. It has many of the same properties as biological evolution, but it is many, many orders of magnitude faster. If you look at the evolution of the car or the plane or clothes, tools, bridges, houses, there is a progression that looks like evolutionary progression, but it may be 1,000,000 times faster, and it's dubious whether it works by natural selection or some other process. You can make a case for it evolving by natural selection, but it's not a strong case. And the point I want to make here is that human evolution in the future, if you're asking me to predict human evolution in the future, it's likely to be cultural evolution rather than biological evolution. The two influence each other. Cultural evolution is likely to have an effect on biological evolution, but the dominant effect you will see if you try to predict the course of human evolution, it will be a change in culture rather than a change in genes. That's just an illustration of cultural evolution, the evolution of the car, and you could do the same thing for the computer or the plane or clothes or language, which evolves in a very biological way. Finally, it is much noticed that human technology is moving in somewhat alarming directions as computers become more and more powerful, faster, software becomes more sophisticated, and computer technology is reaching the point where it can emulate human life to a rather alarming degree. And artificial intelligence, AI, is advancing to the point where some people are starting to fear that human function may be usurped, may be taken over to a rather frightening extent. Are we likely to be overrun by robots of our own creation? If we make robots that are capable of evolving themselves, of reproducing and evolving themselves, could there be a takeover such that humans become redundant, unnecessary, slaves just whose only function is to manufacture the robots who will be our masters? There are scientists such as Stephen Hawking who are worried about this and are warning that we may need to take care whether we are sowing the seeds of our own destruction by manufacturing highly sophisticated machines with artificial intelligence. We're moving into the territory of science fiction here, but it probably, since I've been asked to talk about the future of human evolution, this is something that I can't avoid mentioning. The possibility that human evolution may be the spawning ground for a new kind of evolution, which would be no longer biological, but technological, and might resemble biological evolution somewhat, but might take us into new realms which we can hardly imagine. And I suppose we could speculate that in the future there might be a room full of robots, silicon and metal robots, sitting, listening to a lecturer, speculating about the possibility that way, way back in the distant past there might have been some dawn age before the evolution of silicon life, some kind of squashy, wet, carbon-based life that gave rise to us. Well, to sum up, I was asked to talk about the future of human evolution, and I assessed the likelihood that we have a future at all. Will we go extinct? I explained how difficult it is to predict evolution in general, how rash it is to try, and I did this mostly by talking about animals. I then returned to the question of human evolution and explained that on the timescale of millions of years, the dominant trend of the past few million years, that's to say brain size increase, is unlikely to continue. I explained that cultural evolution is likely to dominate, and it's orders of magnitude faster than biological evolution. So if there is biological evolution, it's likely to be heavily influenced by cultural evolution, and technological evolution may even take over completely. I wanted to end on an uplifting note, and it's hard to do so on this day after the election of a bizarre comedian, I would say, if it were not so serious and so frightening, in the American election. But pessimistic and frightening as it is, the arc of history, as Martin Luther King said, is in general positive. Steven Pinker, who I think has been speaking in Korea quite recently, in his book, The Better Angels of Our Nature, makes the point that as the centuries go by, if you look back at human history over the centuries, there is a general trend in the right direction. Things are getting better, we're getting nicer, we've abolished slavery. Only a century ago, women didn't have the vote in most countries of the world. We are getting better, things are improving. And although many of my American friends are saying today that they're ashamed to be American, I think we all have a right to be proud to be human, because the achievements of the human species in science, in understanding the universe in which we live, the process that has given rise to us, is truly impressive, truly something to be proud of. And I want to end with the quotation which we all saw from Einstein as we walked into this hall, just outside there. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Thank you very much.